Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Helping Hands Charity League. I am Vulpix Aura of the Frosty Vulpix. Welcome to our week 13, our week 13 and our week 14 battle recap stream. Before we get into too much, I do just want to reiterate that this whole entire league is for charity. We're trying to raise money for charity. We're trying to raise awareness, but we're also trying to get. I don't think I've really ever mentioned this. We're trying to get donations into our own prize pool that will be going to the winner's charity. Currently, we do not have any money for the donation pool for the winner, so that's sort of a problem. So yeah, if I, so just for charity, we're trying to raise donations for this. This first video for the week 13 battle recap, since I did not stream last week, we're just going to go right through the battles. This is going to be a long video. I mean, y'all can probably tell by the actual video having a long number on it. I can't say exactly how long the number is going to be because I haven't actually done the recording yet, obviously. But it's just going to be one big video going through every battle, and then we're going to get into week 14 where we go in depth and introduce the teams and everything. And I will reiterate this again. It will look different. The showdown screen itself will look different. The skin that I use for the website for Pokemon Showdown, it's a little bit buggy because Showdown updated its UI, so it's not as clean as it's actually really buggy. It doesn't work at all right now, so it will look a little bit different for y'all. Hopefully by next week it does get fixed. But yeah, let's hop into things. Week 13, Battle 1. There it is. It is between Nomad's Gambit and the Devious Duat. I will say there's no real order. I usually make an order specifically based on how the battles end up. But again, since we didn't have stream last week, I just got the first battles that I got, or the battles that I got in order, basically. And then I put the main event at the end. So, week 13, Battle 1 is between Nomad's Gambit and the Devious Duat. As you can see, this does look different. We have this giant thingy here now. It's covering up our little Sandslash and Honchkrow over here. But we see the Nomad's Gambit lineup of the Midnight Lycanroc, the Magneton, who is this? Kingdra, Sandslash, Honchkrow, and Lucario. Devious Duats, we have the Dragonite, Gyarados, Goldango, Blissey, Weezing, and Grimmsnarl. Let's hop into it and get started with battle number 1. The Magneton is being led by the Nomad's Gambit, with COVID-19, the Weezing being led by the Devious Duats. Immediate light screen being set up by Magneton, with the Toxic Spikes then being set up onto the field of the Nomad's Gambit. A Reflect does get set up right afterwards, with another layer of Toxic Spikes being set up. The Weezing, though, switches into the Blissey, the little happy-faced Blissey, with a Thunderbolt doing just a little bit of chip damage because of how defensive this Blissey actually is. It didn't really do anything. The Hard Swap from the Magneton into Lucario, though, and the Stealth Rock then being set up by this Blissey. The Devious Duats laying so many traps here. Blissey switching out for the Weezing, with Lucario going for an Earthquake, with, of course, the Levitate not doing anything. But the Zen Headbutt is going to be a super effective hit against the Weezing, and the Flinch will come into play as well here. Another Zen Headbutt by this Lucario. Will it flinch again? It does not. The Will-O-Wisp is going to burn Lucario, cutting the future damage in half here. Unfortunately, really good play by the Devious Duat, though. The switch from the Weezing into the Gyarados with another Zen Headbutt, only doing just a very, very little bit of damage here because of the burn stat. Lucario is going to switch back into the Magneton, but the Stealth Rock is going to do a little bit of chip damage, with a substitute then being set up by its Gyarados. Gyarados is going to go for a Waterfall. Does it get the flinch? It does not. The light screen being set up, with the Dragon Dance then being set up by the Gyarados. The Reflect is going to then be set up by the Magneton here. With the Waterfall is going to be enough, even through the Reflect, with the Dragon Dance, to be able to knock out this, what's-his-face. The Lycanroc then switches out to replace it. A Waterfall is going to hit and do so much damage, but not quite knock down the Lycanroc. Lycanroc is then able to break the substitute of the Gyarados, though the Crunch is going to be able to take it down. The Gyarados in a really good position here to continue going, but will it be able to continue? The Bullet Punch is going to be a resisted hit, and the Waterfall is going to not knock out Lucario, but do a lot of damage here. I think Lucario has pretty much no other choice than to watch a Dragon Dance happen. With a Poison Jab doing a little bit of chip damage, does not get the poison though. The poison there probably would have been huge, but now the Gyarados is able to go for another substitute with a Poison Jab, not even enough to break the sub. Light Screen now wearing off here with a Waterfall is going to connect and take down Lucario. Kingdra does replace the fallen Lucario, does get hit by all the traps that are set up, and the Crunch is not going to one-shot Kingdra here, and the Liquidation is going to fade. But will it be enough here? Is there enough priority? Oh, the switch from the Gyarados into the Gremlin. The hidden power is going to do a little bit of chip damage to the Gremlin here with the poison, then taking down the Kingdra. Alolan Sandslash switches in to replace it, floating in the air with the balloon. With the Reflect then being set up by the Gremlin, the Poison Jab is going to do some pretty good damage. I don't think it would have been enough though. The Poison Jab is going to do even more through the Reflect. But the Hammer Arm is going to just bonk the heck out of Sandslash here. A quad weak move, or quad effective move. Just as Honchkrow trying to do anything against the rest of this team. The switch from the Grimmsnarl into E. Of course, the Detect is not going to work because of the switch in here. Why is the Dragonite named E? I don't get it. But the Dragon Dance is now being set up by the Dragonite. The Aerial's going to do a little bit of chip damage. And Dragonite's just sitting there. He's scared. Or scary. The Dragon Claw is not going to do anything because of Protect from this Honchkrow here. Honchkrow trying to get back to full HP. The Sucker Punch is going to do a little bit of chip. But the Dragon Claw is going to be enough to take down Honchkrow. The Devious Duats winning over the Nomad's Gambit in Week 13. Let's move on right ahead to battle number 2. Usually you don't see that because I'm able to do stuff that you saw it. I'm not going to check now, but we have the Tapu Bullies and the Mythical Mermaids in battle number 2 here. From the Tapu Bullies, you see the Scyther, the Cofagrigus, the Nidoking, the Arcanine, the Porygon Z, I almost didn't see Porygon Z, and the Baby Comfey. And we see from the Mythical Mermaids, the Great Tusk, the Mimikyu, the Vaporeon, Noivern, Vikavolt, and Dragapult. Let's hop into it. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Hold on. I have to fix all the rest of these now. Nothing happens. Oh my gosh. I wasn't ready. Alright. Everything's fine. We see the Tapu Bullies leading with the Cofagrigus and the Mythical Mermaids leading with the Dragapult. Alright. Let's go. The Shadow Ball being used immediately by the Koi Fish with the Cofagrigus and going for a Will-O-Wisp, getting the burn right away here. Cofagrigus getting a little bit of chip damage or chip recovery with the chip damage from the whatever. But Porygon Z switches in from the Cofagrigus to predict the Shadow Ball. A really good prediction here by the Tapu Bullies. Of course, Porygon being neutral to Ghost type moves. The Dragapult switching into the Great Fish with the Photosynthesis boosting its attack here. The Reflect then being set up by the Porygon Z. The Close Combat is able to break through the Reflect and take down the Porygon. This is a scary fish. The Comfey then comes in. The Ice Spinner is going to do a little bit of chip damage, but not too much from the Reflect, with the Calm Mind being set up by the Comfey. And the Draining Kiss is going to one-shot the Great Fish. The Vaporeon, the Mermaid, switches in with the Giga Drain, doing a little bit of chip damage, but Vaporeon is just so chonky that it's not really going to do too much here. But the Wish is then being set up by the Mermaid with a Giga Drain, doing another big hit, but not enough to take it down. The Scald is going to do some chip damage back to the Comfey, with the Wish coming true and bringing the Mermaid back to... Never mind, Mermaid is gone by another Giga Drain. Oof. Comfey doing a lot of damage here. The Bugfish switching in then with a Draining Kiss, doing a little bit of chip damage here to the Bugfish. A Volt Switch. I keep saying another because the name is another one. Volt Switch from the Vikavolt into the Koi Fish of the Dragapult. But a Draining Kiss is going to outspeed, obviously because of its ability, and take down the Dragapult in just one hit. The Noivern, the Flying Fish, gets bonked by another Draining Kiss. The Disguised Mermaid then comes in. A Draining Kiss is going to be able to break the disguise of the Mimikyu here, but the Shadow Claw is going to do about half. But the Draining Kiss is going to bring it down to 2% HP here. The Shadow Claw is going to do some chip damage. However, the Life Orb is going to take down the Mimikyu. With just the Bugfish against the Comfey here, it's gone. The Comfey getting its first sweep of the season, which didn't it get like 3 sweeps last time around, Zekrom? So the fact that it only got 1 sweep this season is pretty crazy. So Comfey's ability is Triage, whatever. Triage. It gives 3 times priority to healing moves. So moves like Giga Drain, Triage. Moves like Giga Drain, moves like Draining Kiss, moves like Healing, Heal Pulse, moves like that are going to get 3 times priority. So yeah, that's why Comfey is so scary, and that's why it outsped everything, because it had the priority on the moves. Yeah, no worries, it happens. Sometimes you can't prepare as much as you usually can. I mean, that happened to me. I think that actually happened to me week 13 too, but y'all will see that later. Let's move on though to battle number 3. I promise it's muted. I promise. We see the Sylphic Sylveon versus the San Aegis crew. From the Sylphic Sylveon, we have the Hisuian starter duo, Typhlosion and Samurott. You see the Tinkaton that's hiding behind the Golurk, which is hiding behind the Music Off. Why don't I just play with Music Off? I'm so weird. Anyway, we see the Aqua Breed Paldean Tauros and the female Indeedee, with the San Aegis crew bringing the Ceralegs, the Togekiss, the Obstagoon, the Sceptile, Medicham, and usually he names as Kurt Cobain the Toxtricity. Let's get into this battle. The Sylphic Sylveon is going to lead with the Samurott, with the Sceptile being led by the San Aegis crew. The immediate flip turn from the Samurott, though, into the Hisuian Typhlosion, frisking the Power Herb, which is probably going to go for the Solar Blade here, and now this Sceptile is at 2 times speed. The Earthquake is going to outspeed and take down Hades, the Hisuian Typhlosion. Tinkaton then comes in, and it's floating in the air though, so it isn't going to get hit by Earthquake. The Fake Out is going to obviously outspeed and flinch. Really good flinch here by the Sylphic Sylveon. The Leaf Blade is going to be a resisted hit, not do too much damage here, but it is going to pop the balloon of the Tinkaton, and the Gigaton Hammer is going to bonk the Sceptile right in the head, taking it down. The Medicham comes in, sanction the Medicham with a Play Rough, outspeeding and taking down the Medicham, probably one of the bigger threats of this team. The Ceralegs is going to swap in to replace it. The Thunder Wave then being set up by the Tinkaton here. With a Bitter Blade, it is of course going to one-shot because it is a Fire-type move against a Steel-type. Tinkaton will fall here. Hisuian Samurott comes in to replace it. with a switch into Kurt Cobain. I still love that name. Kurt Cobain, the Toxtricity, with a Ceaseless Edge being used by the Samurott. Samurott is going to switch into the Golurk. A really good prediction from the Sylphic Sylveon here to predict Thunderbolt, with the Toxtricity being forced to swap here into the Obstagoon to eat an Earthquake. The Obstruct, though, being used by the Obstagoon. A really good prediction by the Sandaigus crew, because the dynamic punch from the Obstruct is going to lower the defense of the Golurk and take down the Golurk with one Night Slash. Really good play by the Sandaigus crew. Paldean Tauros is going to switch in now, with an Iron Head bonking him and doing a little bit of damage, or her, sorry, and the Obstagoon is going for a rest here to get itself back to full HP. Another Iron Head is going to bonk. The Rocky Helmet, though, is doing a lot of damage to this Paldean Tauros. The Sleep Talk being used, with a Night Slash, of course, doing a little bit more chip damage to the Tauros. Another Iron Head bonking the Obstagoon. Will another Sleep Talk Night Slash happen? No, because it's going to get flinched. It is going to wake up, though, and go for an Obstruct here. The Obstruct into the Iron Head, of course, is going to drop the defense of the Paldean Tauros here by 2 times again. Another Iron Head is going to bonk it. And the Night Slash is not going to be quite enough to take down, but an Iron Head with the Rocky Helmet is going to be just enough to take down this Paldean Tauros. With a rest now being set up, again, getting the Obstagoon back to full HP. Samurott does come back in, though. The Sacred Sword is going to bonk the Obstagoon, take it down in one hit, but the Sandaigus crew is in a really good position here. Tom Cruise comes in, I still love the name Tom Cruise, to switch from the Samurott into the female Indeedee, with an Aura Sphere doing a little bit of chip damage to the Indeedee here. Another Aura Sphere is going to outspeed, do some more damage. And the Expanding Force is going to do a little bit more than half, but will it be enough? The switch from the switch from the Togekiss into Toxtricity, the Expanding Force is going to be a super effective move and take down Toxtricity. The Cerulege does come back. And the Expanding Force isn't going to knock it out, though. And the Cerulege stays paralyzed. Another Expanding Force is going to be able to take down the Cerulege just as Togekiss left. The outspeed from the Togekiss to take down the Indeedee, just Samurott here, which will outspeed it. It's to whoever. The Sacred Sword, interestingly used, a quad weak move from the Samurott, with the Togekiss going for the Dazzling Gleam to take down the Samurott, and the Sandaigus crew picking up. I think this is their first win, isn't it? As of this point, right? Or is this their second win? I need to check here. Sandaigus crew with their third win. Never mind, they're getting their third win against the Sylphic Sylveon here. Good games to both teams. Was it interesting to see? I don't know what the Sacred Sword, because it's a quad weak move. Maybe another flip turn would have done the trick, but who knows? Good battle though to both the Sylphic Sylveon and the Sandaigus crew. Let us move on to battle number 4, where we see the cross-branded brawlers and the shaded sunsets. Cross-branded brawlers with the Golisopod, the Weezing that's hiding behind the Hisuian Gudra, the Corsola, Galarian Corsola, Mantine, and Whimsicott, with the shaded sunsets bringing the Earthworm and the Minior, the Arcanine, the Quaquaval, Glaceon, and Dragalge. Slow and muted, let's get into things. Golisopod is going to lead, with a Glaceon being led from the Shaded Sunsets. The immediate switch from the Golisopod into the Hisuian Gudra, the Freeze Dry, is going to be a neutral hit from the Glaceon. Leftover recovery is pretty strong, though. The Glaceon is going to go for a Hidden Power and do some damage. Won't be quite enough, though, with the Flash Cannon not being quite enough to take down the Glaceon here either. The switch from the Gudra into the Galarian Weezing here, with the Hidden Power, of course, is going to do nothing. It is a Hidden Power ground that we just learned. But the Ice Beam is going to crit the Weezing and take it down in just one shot. Golisopod does come out. Golisopod is going to go for an Aqua Jet and is able to get a revenge kill onto that Glaceon. The Cosmic Sunset Minior comes in with an Aqua Jet doing some pretty decent damage here. And the Stone Edge is going to miss the poor Golisopod, or the lucky Golisopod, the poor Mini, or another Aqua Jet is going to be enough to take down the Cosmic Sunset. Gummified Sunset, the Earthworm, is going to come in and get its defense boosted with its Iron Defense, with the knocking off its leftovers, though doing absolutely no damage. The switch from the Gliscopod into the Glaring Corsola, with another Iron Defense being set up by the Gummified Sunset. The Iron Head is going to do a little bit of damage to the Corsola and get the flinch as well. A Stealth Rock then being set up by Gummified Sunset, with a Reflect being set up by the whatever it's called. The Shaded Algae is going to switch with a Scald, a good predicted switch from the Shaded Sunsets, eating the Scald here with the switch from the Corsola into the Goodra. The Goodra is going to eat a Shadow Ball and get a special defense dropped. The Draco Meteor is going to do some good damage, but it won't be enough to take down the Chonk that is the Dragalge. The Dragalge going for a Dragon Pulse to take down the Goodra. Whimsicott does come in and gonna go for the Encore to lock Dragalge into the Dragon Pulse. Of course, Dragon Pulse is immune because of the fairy typing of the Whimsicott here. Dragalge is forced to switch into the Howling Sunset, into the Arcanine, with a Moonblast doing, of course, a not very effective hit, but it is going to pop the balloon of the Howling Sunset. The switch from the Whimsicott into the Galarian Corsola here, with a Raging Fury doing some pretty decent damage to the Eviolite. But the Raging Fury is going to do some more chunky damage. The Cursed Body is going to disable it though, but the Strength Sap is going to bring the Corsola all the way back to full HP. And of course it can't use Raging Fury because it is disabled, and the Scald is going to do some good damage and of course get confused. But the Shaded Algae does replace the Doggo. Another Scald is going to connect from the Galarian Corsola. The Corsola switches out into the Mantine with a Sludge Wave doing some pretty good damage here, but not quite enough. The Roost is going to bring it back to the green HP here. Another Sludge Wave is going to bring it back down to under half with the switch from the Dragalge into the Sunset Dance, the Quacklevolt. The Roost bringing it back to almost full HP. The Ice Spinner is going to do some little bit of chip damage, but not enough. With the Hurricane going to connect and take down the Quacklevolt in just one hit. The Gummified Sunset comes out with the Scald doing some really good damage because of the low special defense of the Worm. The Iron Head is of course resisted. It's not going to do too much damage. The Scald will be enough to take down the Worm. Arcanine comes back out with a switch from the Galarian into Galarian Corsola. I can't speak. With the Play Rough doing a little bit of chip damage and getting disabled from the Cursed Body. Arcanine forces switch into the Shaded Algae here with another Scald coming through. And this time getting the burn onto Dragalge, putting it now on a timer. The switch into the Golisopod from the Galarian Corsola though, with a Shadow Ball, taking it not even taking it to emergency exit range. The Flip Turn is going to bring it down to under half, but the Citrus Berry is going to keep the Golisopod on the field. Howling Sunset is going to drop the attack of the Golisopod, which is pretty huge actually. The knockoff is going to not knock off anything. The Extreme Speed, not quite enough to take down to emergency exit range. With the Aqua Jet, then enough to take down the Arcanine. Dragalge then comes in. It is on a timer. It's not looking good for Dragalge. The Shadow Ball is going to connect, bring it to emergency exit range here. And the Whimsicott comes in. And the Moonblast is not going to take down the Dragalge with a Sludge Wave, a quite effective hit, enough to take down the Whimsicott. However, Burn is going to take down the Dragalge. A really good fight between the Brawlers and the Shaded Sunsets here, taking down 3 Pokemon. The second person to take down 3 Pokemon after me of this team. Just showing how strong the Shaded Sunsets actually can be against a formidable opponent like the Cross-Branded Brawlers. Good games to both of you, however. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. Let's move on to battle number 5. We see it is between the Brandon Bayleafs and the Pallet Town Penguins. The Brandon Bayleafs bringing the Gigalith, the Metagross, the Hatterene, the Rotom Heat, the Dodrio that's kind of hidden, and the Primarina, with the Pallet Town Penguins bringing the Penguin squad of the Frog Penguin, the Penguin that I can't say on stream, the Chubby Penguin, the Halloween Penguin, another name I don't think I can say on stream, and the Soccer Penguin. Swampert, Gardevoir, Gengar, Gourgeist, Heracross, and Cinderace. Let's get into this battle. The Penguin squad. And let's get started here. The Brandon Bayleafs are going to lead with the Hatterene, with the Pallet Town Penguins leading with the Gardevoir. The Magic Bounce, a good trace of the Magic Bounce here, good first matchup. Shadow Ball is going to do over half the HP and drop a special defense of the Hatterene, with a light screen then being set up to boost that special defense up by 2. Immediate switch into the Dodrio though. A good predicted switch here because the Gardevoir is going for another Shadow Ball. The Brave Bird is going to just absolutely bonk Gardevoir though, taking it down in just one shot. With Ed, and Eddie standing quite strong, and Cinderace is going to come back out. The switch from the Dodrio into Primarina though. With the high jump kick, another good predicted swap. Despite being resisted, it's still doing a lot of damage here. The switch from the Cinderace into the Halloween Penguin, frisking from the choice specs of the Primarina. The Psychic is going to do a lot of damage though. The switch from the Primarina into Mr. Oven Mitts the Rotom, with a Trick or Treat making it, or turning it into a Ghost type from the Gourgeist. The Shadow Sneak is going to do some pretty good damage here. And the Volt Switch isn't going to be enough to take down the Halloween Penguin, but it is enough to get the Metagross into play here. The Leech Seed is being set up by the Gourgeist, but the Earthquake is going to be enough to take it down, though the Metagross is going to stay Leech Seeded here until it switches out. The Frog Penguin comes in with Corroded, the Metagross switching out into Mr. Oven Mitts. Another really good prediction here from the Brandon Bayleafs of the Levitate Pokemon being immune to Earthquake. With a Will-O-Wisp connecting onto the Frog Penguin to put the attack stat in half and makes Mr. Oven Mitts survive a liquidation from a strong opponent like a Swampert. And the Pain Split is going to heal the Rotom up to over half HP. The liquidation is going to bring it back down, but a really good Pain Split there. The defense does get dropped on the Rotom though. So the switch from the Rotom back into the Primarina here. With the liquidation not doing too much damage here because of the burn, and of course it's resisted. And the Moonblast is of course going to be enough to take down the Swampert in just one hit because of the choice specs. Chubby Penguin does come back out. The Primarina forces to swap into Corroded the Metagross. The Energy Ball, another really good prediction here from the Brandon Bayleafs, but the Shadow Ball is going to be a super effective hit here. And the Zen Headbutt is going to bring down the Gengar to its Focus Sash, and the Cursed Body is going to proc here. But the Bullet Punch, the priority Bullet Punch, is going to take down the Gengar. Soccer Penguin comes back out though, and the Bullet Punch is going to do a little bit of damage here, but it won't be enough. With a high jump kick, is going to be enough to take down the Metagross. But Ed, and Eddie comes back out. It's actually in a really good position here because the Brave Bird is going to bonk the Cinderace. And the last Pokemon alive from the Pallet Town Penguins is Quad Weak to a flying type move, like Brave Bird, and it is going to take down the Heracross, but also fall in the process here, leaving the Brandon Bayleafs as the winners of this battle. Pallet Town Penguin able to take down 2 of the Pokemon here. Good games to both teams, and let's keep things moving and go on to battle number 6. We see it is the Philadelphia Infinite Fusions and the Rhythm Rotoms. We have the Philadelphia Infinite Fusions with the Aerodactyl, Typhlosion, Decidueye, that's the name of that Pokemon, Murkrow, and the Espeon that is hiding behind Drapion here. And we have the Frigoraph from the Rhythm Rotom, the Jolteon, the Zangoose, the Aggron, the Garchomp, and the Grafaiai. And let's get into things. The Philadelphia Infinite Fusions is going to lead with the Drapion, with the Rhythm Rotoms leading with the Minion at number 6, the Frigoraph. The Leech Life is going to do a lot of damage, but not enough to take it down. The Citrus Berry then being recovered, with an Agility then being set up by the Frigoraph. The Leech Life, though, is going to do some good damage with the Baton Pass, from the Frigwrath into the Jolteon, the Lord of Death. The switch from the Decidueye, or from the Drapion into Decidueye to eat or resist a hidden power, assuming it's ground. Another stored power, though, is going to do some damage here, with a nasty plot then being set up by this Decidueye. Another stored power, though, is going to do some damage, but not enough to take it down with a Baton Pass of its own into the Typhlosion. The hidden power is a super effective hit, but it's not quite enough to take down the Typhlosion with an Eruption, bringing the Lord of Death down to its Focus Sash. The switch, though, from the Typhlosion into the Aerodactyl, with an Electro Ball doing some pretty good damage, and the Salad Berry is going to raise the speed, but will it be enough to outspeed Jolteon? It is not. Another Electro Ball is going to take down the Aerodactyl. The Decidueye comes back out, and the priority Sucker Punch is going to be able to take down the Jolteon. The Discord moderator Aggron comes in, and the Heavy Slam is going to bonk Decidueye. The Murkrow does come out, and the Pear Song is then being set up by this Murkrow here, but the Heavy Slam is going to just delete the poor little bird. Poor bird. The Drapion comes back, and the Toxic Spikes get set up by this Drapion here, and the Heavy Slam is going to bring the Drapion down to 1 HP, not even a Focus Sash, by the way. Another layer of Toxic Spikes set up with another Heavy Slam is going to erase the rest of this Drapion here. And Typhlosion comes in to try its hand against it. The Flamethrower is going to bring it down to Sturdy. And the Heavy Slam is a resistant hit. It's not going to be enough to take down Typhlosion. And the Aggron falls to the Murkrow. The Harbinger of Doom, Garchomp, comes in. And the Earth Power is going to outspeed and take down the Typhlosion, with just the Espeon left against the rest of this team. No nickname on Espeon, sad. The Dazzling Gleam is going to outspeed, not take down the Garchomp, though, with a Draco Meteor taking the Espeon down to 29% HP. The Toxic is going to dwindle it down, and the Psychic is going to be enough to take down the rest of this Garchomp. But the Life Orb is putting this Espeon on a timer here. The Psychic is going to take down Pestilence in just one hit, but Life Orb, this Espeon only has one turn left here. It's just the Grafaiai comes out. No, not Grafaiai. Frigwrath comes out. The Dazzling Gleam takes it down, but the Life Orb damage is enough to take down Espeon, with the Rhythm Rotoms winning the battle against the Philadelphia Infinite Fusions. A really close battle here, and would have been main event if I think my battle was just that much closer. So that's what happened. But a really good battle between these two teams, and the Rhythm Rotoms pulling ahead this time around. Let's move on to battle number 7. We have the Goldenrod Goldengos and the Raichu Raiders. The Goldenrod Goldengos bringing the two Paradox Mons here, the Roaring Moon and the Slitherwing. You see the Torkoal, the Vileplume, the Jellicent, and the Wobbuffet coming back. I haven't seen Wobbuffet in a while. It's good to see that. Give me a second, I need water. I've just been straight talking for the past 33 minutes, and I haven't had a drink of water, so I'm drinking some water. Alright. The Raichu Raiders, bringing their namesake Pokemon, the Raichu, the Azumarill, the Cinccino, the Breloom, the Diggersby, and the Lilligant. Let's get started. The Goldenrod Goldengos are going to lead with the Slitherwing with the Raichu Raiders, leading with the Lilligant. The U-turn from the Slitherwing is going to just erase the Lilligant in just one move. Unfortunately here, the Slitherwing switching out into the Torkoal. That is a really intense sun animation there. The Azumarill then switches in with a belly drum being set up by Azumarill. Backsliding his attack, and the Citrus Berry is going to bring it back to 75% HP here. But the Yawn from the Torkoal is going to put this Azumarill to sleep in another turn. The Aqua Jet, of course, in the sun. And the eject button from the Torkoal is going to bring out the Vileplume here, and the Azumarill takes a little nap on the field. And the Sludge Wave from the Vileplume is going to be enough to take down Azumarill. The Raichu comes out, With a solar beam being used by the Vileplume, brings the Raichu down to 76%, with an agility then being used by the Raichu, so it is going to outspeed this next turn. And the discharge being used, it is of course a resisted hit, so it's not going to do too much damage, and the Sunny Day is going to be able to be set up by the Vileplume here. The Focus Blast does not miss, surprisingly, does a little bit of chip damage, but the Sludge Wave is going to be enough to take down the Raichu. Cinccino then comes out. The Solar Beam set up by the Vileplume and just erases the poor little Cinccino there. Unfortunate. With Diggersby coming in. And the outspeed Fire Punch to delete the Vileplume. I was not expecting Diggersby to outspeed. The Roaring Moon comes in. Of course, the attack is going to get boosted by the Photosynthesis ability here. The switch from the Diggersby into the Breloom, though, with an Outrage, is just going to delete the heck out of poor Breloom. And it's just Diggersby left. The Fire Punch, of course, is a resistant hit. It does not get the burn either, with the Outrage able to take down the Diggersby, leaving the Goldenrod Goldangles as the winners of this battle in week 13. Yep, that's the right thing. Good games to both teams. Just Goldenrod Goldangles continuing to show just how strong they actually are. They might have Paradox Mons, but they played around it really, really well. So even without the Paradox Pokemon, I think this team would still be a force to be reckoned with. But let's move on to the main event with the two teams we have not seen yet for week 13. We have the Dabbing Dratini's and myself, the Frosty Vulpix. Dabbing Dratini's bringing their own two Paradox Mons, the Iron Valiant and Iron Moth, with the Dugtrio, the Skarmory, the Ninjask, and the Shark. It is Shark Week again, and it's scary. With the Frosty Vulpix bringing out the Masquerada, the Alolan Ninetales, the Zoroark, Hisuian Zoroark, the Lycanroc, the Scorch, and the Lantern. Let's get into the main events. We have the Dugtrio being led by the Dabbing Dratini's, with the Masquerada, the Frosty Aurora, being led. The immediate search from Dugtrio into the Skarmory with a U-turn from the Masquerada. Probably just to get the heck out of there. Masquerada going into the Lantern. The Body Press being used by the Skarmory against the Lantern, with a Scald being used by the Lantern. The Roost is going to bring the Skarmory back to full HP, with, of course, now the Discharge being used, but it does get the Paralyze. The Discharge gets the Paralyze onto the Skarmory, and the Scald is going to outspeed, bring the Skarmory down to 11% HP, with a Spikes being set up by the Skarmory to be put around the field. But the Scald will be enough to take down the Lantern. I will admit that I totally misplayed there. Dugtrio does come out. Of course, Arena Trap keeps the Frosty Fish in place and gets deleted by an Earthquake there. The Masquerada does come back in. And the immediate switch from the Dugtrio into the Ninjask with the Flower Trick. A good prediction from the Dabbing Dratini's here. Flower Trick, of course, being a quad-resisted hit. I'm pretty sure it's quad-resisted. The switch from the Masquerada into the Doggo, the Lycanroc, with a substitute then being set up by the Ninjask. It is going to get the speed boost, a boosted speed from the speed boost ability. Accelerock is going to obviously outspeed, but the Baton Pass is going to be passed into the Dugtrio. Of course, the Doggo is trapped now because of Arena Trap. The Accelerock is going to do a little bit of damage here. No choice but to stay in with the Earthquake, then deleting the Lycanroc. The Masquerada then comes back in. And the switch from the Dugtrio into the Ninjask. But the trick from the Masquerada is going to trick the Choice Specs with the Focus Sash. The switch from the Ninjask into the Iron Moth with a Flamethrower. A Flamethrower. Surprise! It is a Zoroark. The Psychic is used by the Iron Moth. But of course, the Sludge Wave is going to outspeed and take down the Zoroark. The actual Masquerada comes back in now, and is going to knock off. There it is, taking down the Iron Moth there. The Sharpedo, the baby shark, comes in and goes for the Protect to get its speed boost right away. Knockoff, protecting it from another knockoff here. Meowscarada still outspeeds, though the knockoff is going to drop the Night Life Orb of the Sharpedo with the Ice Fang being used. It's not going to be enough to take down Meowscarada, though. Meowscarada switches into the Alolan Ninetales. I almost called it Vulpix for some reason. And the Protect being used. Of course, the Protect is going to fail. But the speed boost now from the Sharpedo is going to make it fast as heck, boy. The Liquidation going to do some good damage to the Ninetales, with the Aurora Veil then being set up by Ninetales here. Another Protect being used by the Sharpedo to protect it from a Moonblast that was about to bonk it. Another Liquidation being used, doing some pretty good damage here, but since the Light Screen is up, or the Aurora Veil is up, is not going to knock it out. And the crit totally mattered there. Moonblast taking down the Sharpedo definitely did not matter. Dugtrio does come out, and the Stone Edge is going to outspeed and take down the Ninetales. The Ninetale, or the Meowscarada comes back in. The switch from the Dugtrio into Tokyo Drift. This, I love that name. The Flower Trick is going to hit the Ninjask here, and of course get the critical hit because of the guaranteed crits. The Protect, though, being used, but now because of the trick earlier, it is locked into Protect, so it can't use anything else besides Protect here. Another Protect is attempted to be used, but it did not work. The Flower Trick is going to be enough to take down the Ninjask. The Iron Maiden, I love that name. Iron Valiant coming in, the speed being boosted, and the Meowscarada is still outspeeding and almost taking down the, what's-his-face, the Iron Valiant, but it's not going to. The Poison Jab is going to take down the Meowscarada with just Sanduscorch left. The Aurora Veil does wear off here. The Sanduscorch stands in strong. The Close Combat is going to do some pretty good damage. And then the Fire Lash is going to be enough to take it down. And now it is up to, does the Stone Edge miss from the Dugtrio? The Stone Edge does not miss, bringing the Sanduscorch down. And the Dabbing Dratini's coming out on top. Good games. Good games. Night was fun. And a good week of battles, too. I'm going to end the recording here, but y'all will continue on the stream.